What's up guys, it's J-Man, and for this month's personal video, I thought I'd do something that I've always wanted to do. I respond to some of the comments that I've got on a particular video. This time, it's going to be my most popular video, Superman 2. People have said some pretty interesting stuff, and I thought I'd just kind of mention them and just respond to some of them and stuff. Before I go into that, I thought I'd mention this little fun fact. My Superman 2 video kind of has a parallel history to the actual Superman 2 movie. When I initially filmed it, I looked back over the footage and I realized that something was actually kind of wrong with it, so I literally had to refilm all of the on-camera stuff, which is why, you know, if you watch the video, you notice that, like, some of the on-camera stuff doesn't always match the, you know, voiceover stuff, so... Anyway, I thought I'd just respond to some of the comments, and I won't be naming any particular one like a lot of people do, except for the very end. What I'll be doing instead is actually, because some people have said like a lot of similar stuff, so I thought I'd just kind of lump them all together, as it were, and just respond to some common complaints and criticism that I've gotten. So this is going to be my response to comments on my Superman 2 video. So first, there have been several people pointing out a factual error that I made in the video, and that is, it wasn't really Warner Brothers who interfered, it was actually the Salkinds. Now, let me just get this out of the way. Even when I made the video, I've always known about the Salkinds, okay? I've always known about their feud with director Richard Donner. The mistake that I made was assuming that the Salkinds were actually working for Warner Brothers, which actually isn't really the case. It turns out they were kind of independent movie producers who were making the movie with their own money, and Warner Brothers basically just distributed it. That was my fault. I do apologize for that. I guess I was really just basing it off of the fact that Warner Brothers is kind of infamous for interfering with their own movies and messing with them and turning them into something that they really shouldn't have been in the first place. Next, there have been a couple people pointing out that I didn't really analyze it enough to form a more educated opinion on it, which is kind of funny because I could have sworn I said at the very beginning of the video, let's look at the major differences of each version and see how they compare. Major differences. Believe me, I acknowledge that the theatrical cut has some pretty stupid stuff in it, but the thing with me is that I can tolerate it if the story itself is entertaining enough. Next, there have been a lot of people kind of scolding me for the way I spoke about the ending of the Donner cut, saying that the whole turning back time thing was originally meant to be in Superman 2 in the first place. First of all, let me just say that it is important to know a movie's history. However, I'm of the firm belief that you have to judge something for what it is, not for what it was meant to be. And for me, the ending of the Donner cut is just a complete cop-out that just renders the entire movie kind of pointless. Believe me, I understand why they did it that way, but that still doesn't make the story itself all the more entertaining. Next, there have been plenty of people trying to explain the whole logic of Jor-El giving Clark his powers back and how that's arguably better, etc. Let me just say this. I acknowledge that Jor-El was a brilliant scientist on Krypton. What I refuse to believe, however, is that he was a freaking fortune teller. There was no way he could possibly know every decision that Clark would make on Earth and that he would eventually want to become human. However, for sake of argument, let's play with that thought experiment. Let's say that Jor-El did know that he would eventually want to become human. Okay, does that still mean that he would actually create that whole transformation chamber, even though that's clearly the last thing he would ever want for his son? And plus, what would be the point of it if he's just going to invent another way to give his powers right back to him anyway? Plus, why would he lie to his son? Remember, right before he changes, he literally says to him, after this is done, there's no turning back. Your powers will be gone forever. Why would he say that? Why wouldn't he also just say that in case you have a change of heart, here's how you change back? Why would he go through this whole lie? See, in the theatrical cut, I feel like he actually has to work for it, and therefore earns it a lot better. There's not this magical, cheap way to just give his powers right back to him. Next, there have been a couple people pointing out that the kiss at the end of the theatrical cut is somewhat comic accurate, and I'm really glad they pointed this out. It's kind of a combination of two powers that he originally had in the original comics. One was literally mind control, in which he would basically stare at someone and, you know, make them do his bidding. The other was kind of a dizzying kiss that he would do. Basically, he would kiss Lois like really hard or whatever, and she would kind of become all lightheaded afterwards. So in that sense, it is kind of a good combination of two powers. The memory erasing is still kind of ridiculous, but I'm really glad that they pointed that out. And finally, probably the best comment on the whole section has definitely got to go to KimboDog07, who literally says, "This is why I'm glad I have a big dick." Aren't you the optimist? So that was my response to some of the comments on my Superman 2 video. What do you guys think? Whatever it is, don't be shy, leave a reply. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon. And of course, if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe to the J-Man. I'll see you guys next month.